Okay, hello again, everyone. As we have mentioned before, it is time for the finalist announcements. Are you excited?
Of course, Bintang.
Okay, so here we go. The finalists for junior high school speech that are going to the final round are, for the first finalist that we have here is, we have Darren Hugo from SMPK Petra 1 Surabaya.
Yay! Next, the second finalist we have Rian Joseph Lim from SMP Cita Hati West Campus Surabaya.
Yay! Congratulations. And for the last finalist that we have here is Alisa Kiandra from SMP Al-Azhar 7 Sukabumi.
Yay! Congratulations!
Okay, congratulations to all finalists. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of the competition. And for the PJs and LOs, you may now take over. Thank you.
Oke, thank you MC. Kita mulai. Kita langsung aja mulai final round ini dari first participant tadi, dari finalis yang tadi disebutin sama MC. Pertama ada Darren Hugo dari SMPK Petra 1 Surabaya.
Langsung mulai dah.
Wait, sebentar.
Halo, ini saya nge-lag.
Sorry, Darren. Ya, tunggu sebentar ya. Lagi ada ini dulu sebentar.
Oke.
Oke, udah ada semua ya. Kita ulang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, we are back again for final round. Congratulations to the finalists and thank you Cassandra for selecting our finalists. Keren-keren banget emang tadi para finalisnya nih. Kita langsung aja mulai final round ini dari first participant ya. Ada Dan Hugo dari SMP Kapitra 1 Surabaya. Silakan. Dan silakan.
Langsung.
Iya, boleh langsung mulai.
Kak, topiknya apa? Bisa disebut lagi?
Topik untuk finalnya itu social and physiology impact of the lack of reading in younger generation.
Lack of literacy in Indonesia. Okay, I will start. 3, 2, 1. Did you know that the literacy interest in Indonesia is at the second bottom lowest in the entire world, according to a survey done by UNESCO? This is a devastating fact, considering Indonesia is one of the most rapidly growing population country in the world. Not only that, we are the second lowest in literacy, according to a research done by Professor Richard Rich in the Boston University of America. It is concluded that young teenage students aging 13 to 16 in Jakarta are 106 years late than other students overseas. This is a devastating fact. This is a problem and we need to fix it. Now I'm going to ask you a question. How many teachers do you think we have? How many students do we have? And how many schools do we have? We have approximately 52,000 teachers, 4,000 schools, and approximately 10 million students in Jakarta. That sounds a lot, but even with all those teachers and all those facilities, teachers has been doing surprisingly low in a lot of faculty tests. In the National Test of Teachers of 2015, teachers of Indonesia graded less than 50 on average. This is a very terrible fact, but now we should focus on literacy. Why is literacy so important? With good literacy, we as young students and young people generation of Indonesia can face and be more critical to the news around us, which not all of them are correct. Nowadays, there's a lot of false news, false accusation, and hoaxes spread by a lot of bad people to gain personal campaigns. With good literacy, it is better for you to learn. It is safer for you in this nowadays the digital world with a lot of scammers and hackers. Now, how can we enhance our critical thinking and literacy? It is very simple, but a lot of people are ignoring it. First things first, obviously, is reading. But I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't read something that you didn't like. Read something that you are passionate about. Read something that you are interested in. This will help you increase your literacy significantly. And I'm going to tell you a tip in reading books. If you want to read a book, I recommend you buy a lot of them. But for the people in remote regions, how can we increase the literacy in remote regions? Nowadays, in a digital era, you can read any books for free online. All you need is the intention and passion. With all these facilities accessible for free by literally anyone in Indonesia and even anyone in any remote places in Indonesia, as long as you have passion, internet connection, and hardware facilities which supports it. Also, nowadays, instead of also buying books, going to libraries and risking getting COVID, you can increase your literacy rate by going to e-libraries. A lot of schools around the world, including my school and including this university and this high school, they provide us with e-libraries. It is a library, but digital. You can lend or borrow just by entering your email. This is a very efficient and revolutionary way to increase our literacy. There's a lot of solutions to increase our literacy, but there's a lot of problems that has very big problems with literacy. One of them is the latest protest done by university students a week ago. It was a protest regarding how the Indonesian President Joko Widodo will have 3 periods of leadership in Indonesia. However, I have never once in my life read even one bit of page regarding of Jokowi wanted to lead 3 periods. It is all a rumor, and even Jokowi himself have stated that he does not have any interest in leading Indonesia for 3 generations. But somehow, miraculously, a lot of Indonesian students, especially from universities, gathered around, grouping without any mask or protocols to demonstrate for something that already has an answer. This is because of the low literacy rate. With low literacy rate, you are more unsafe with lots of information, a lot of fake news regarding COVID. You will be you will have fear, you will be anxious, you will have anxiety about something that doesn't make any sense. Someone said COVID was artificially created. Another person said COVID was from outer space. For people like us, privileged people like us, it doesn't make any sense. But for underprivileged people with low education quality, they believe it. They tremble with fear, they don't know what to do, all because of fake news and low literacy. You see how all of this accumulates to? Social media and news broadcast systems. A lot of them may be really reliable source of news, but let's talk about social media, echo chambers, etc. Let's not talk about that. Let's focus on what I will summarize. Social media has this really terrible habit of only showing which part of the social media that is only visible to you. Let's just say you like a pair of shoes from Nike, and let's just say your friend likes a pair of shoes from Adidas. If I like shoes from Adidas, the algorithm will only show me shoes from Nike. If I like Adidas, the algorithm will show me shoes only from Adidas. This also works with opinions. If I think the earth is flat, the social media will only show me posts regarding about how the earth is flat. But if I think the earth is round, social media will show me the proof that the earth is round. Especially in a country where a lot of people are FOMO, alias fear of missing out, in a country where a lot of people are less disciplined, in a country where a lot of people are very biased with their personal beliefs, echo chambers and social media algorithms are a very deep black hole to the Indonesian society, especially in a rapidly growing population. We have hope. We can still change. We are the latest generation of Indonesia. We will lead the country in 20 years. We must make our ancestors proud. And all of it can be done with something as simple as reading. Because even the simplest things can lead to the deepest answers. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope I can raise awareness about how literacy is very important, especially in nowadays digital era. And I am very sorry if I had said something that you didn't like. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hey, thank you Darren. Kita lanjut ke peserta berikutnya ya. Ada Rian Joseph Lim dari SMP Cita Hati West Surabaya. Silahkan Rian, ada.
Am I audible?
Langsung mulai. Audible.
Thank you. What if we lived in a world with no books? Imagine how empty the world would be with no universal knowledge and no door to severe imagination. But what if I tell you that even with books and reading being universally available today, many young children in remote areas still can't read and don't have access to a simple book? Good afternoon, respectable adjudicator, fellow contestants, and audiences. I'm Ryan Joseph Lim from SMP Cita Hati West Campus Surabaya, and today I'm going to be talking about risking the future, a reading crisis amongst Gen Z. Reading is a very important part of our lives and one of the life skills that everybody should have. Either is it to read a book, simple phrases, or even just text. It is a key to learning for many people. Reading is also very important to apply for jobs and also, for instance, in the subway or ordering food or learning or studying at school. It is a life skill, a basic life skill that everybody should have the right to do. Reading brings many benefits to both social and psychological benefits for children. It helps them to become tolerant and patient to others, and it can also improve their memory. And most importantly, it provides them with knowledge, about, for instance, the environment, learning languages, or others. However, sadly, today more than 3 million Indonesian citizens are illiterate and aren't able to read at a basic level. And this is an alarming issue as reading is a basic life skill required for almost doing anything in life. From buying groceries to studying, reading is always a necessity. This is caused by the development of technology and lack of education in many remote areas. Today, I'm going to bring a highlight on technology because it is one of the biggest factors why many people can or don't want to read. And there are also other causes such as sickness, such as dyslexia or ADHD. However, some people can read, but they just don't want to due to social media and any other alternatives. The lack of reading brings a direct and indirect effect towards the young children of our generation. Directly, it causes children to be left behind academically and more likely to drop out of school. They will also lack life skills and have lower self-esteem, which means that they will not be confident. And they might also be risked and in jeopardy of going to poverty, because if they can't read, most likely many jobs won't be able to accept them. However, it also gives us a bigger indirectly effect, such as it causes young children to be directed to social media and technology. Today, I'm going to be focusing on this part too, because technology is one of the biggest and the most dangerous thing affecting us in this generation. It causes addiction, it causes depression and anxiety, and that's how social media designs our brain to respond. It also gives us unrealistic expectations according to research, such as how we see all the perfect things on social media, perfect bodies, perfect faces, perfect lifestyles that makes us insecure. The problem here is not only us not being able to read, it is people in remote areas with no access to books and can't read due to the lack of education. The United Nations itself has states that reading and education is a human right. But even until now, many people still don't have access to this simple thing called reading. Therefore, let's take a step forward as the next generation. However, by solving reading and the illiteracy problem, we can't do it by ourselves. Something that the government needs to take action upon. Our leaders need to take action. We need to raise awareness and make sure that they know and they have to create programs funded by NGOs to make sure that children who can't read will be able to read. They can increase the standard of education. They can train teachers. Anything that can make sure that people in Indonesia and all over the world have the access to reading. However, we can also take a small part in making sure that this movement will come to a success by reading and not to cut up our social media, by raising awareness. And as parents, you need to limit social media and encourage your children to read more. And also by helping people around us. If we know a friend who can't read, maybe we can bring an impact towards them by just helping them. Therefore, as the next generation of leaders and youth, let's make sure that everyone has universal access to reading and that we would mold future leaders who are competent and reliable. Once you read, you will be forever free by Frederick Douglass. Thank you for your time and have a blessed afternoon.
Oke, thank you Rian. Last ada Alisa Kendra dari SMP Al-Azhar 7 Sukabumi. Silahkan langsung mulai Alisa.
Hello, can you hear me? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Harry Potter. It is one of the most famous book and movie franchise in the entire world. But how many of you have actually read the entire book series? And how many of you have just watched the franchise without reading the books? Well, I asked my classmates this question before. And out of 20 who already watched the entire franchise, only around 5 to 6 people replied that they read all the books. Honorable judges and dear friends, my name is Alisa Tiendra, and today I'm going to deliver a speech about the social and psychological impact of the lack of reading in younger generations. If you take a look a little bit closer, there are the lack of reading in younger generation. A survey from the web shows that only 26% of people under 18 years old read daily. Why does this happen? Well, I believe that it's related to the rise of technologies. For example, now there's substitutes such as Instagram and YouTube, not to mention movie theaters. You don't really need to think much. You could just sit, watch, and enjoy. There is nothing wrong with that. However, movies tell you what to think. They use visual and sound effects in order to give you some pleasure. Bad school system also play a huge impact to the lack of reading. Limited access to libraries may have limited students from finding good books. Another possibility is that students can't differentiate between different types of reading. They perceive reading as schoolwork, and they think of it as something that is less pleasant. But there's benefit in reading that could never be replaced by others. For example, reading exercises the brain. Your imagination is enhanced because you need to think of scenarios that is happening right now during stories. You also get a better understanding of other stuff. It improves our concentration and ability to focus. As for once, you need concentration in order to be able to read well. It also teaches us about empathy, as usually the writer put us under the narrator, and you're able to understand what others are feeling, which makes you less think of prejudice. Now I'm going to dig deeper into the social effect. The impact of the lack of reading can have many consequences to the poor academic, such as poor academic performances, antisocial behaviors, poor understanding, fear and anxiety towards tests and examinations. Students who spend most of their time on social media has recently reported that they are having a hard time to focus, and they are having difficulty getting tasks and assignment done. Now let's talk about the psychological impact. A study in 2003 shows that people who's having literacy struggles reported to self-depression. Now we're going to talk about how to deal with the lack of reading. Well, for once, you could try to find your taste in books. Well, and you might ask, how do you find it? Well, there are a lot of genres out there, and you can do this by reading short stories with different genres and cliches until you find the one that you like most. After that, try to find books that match your taste. Number 2, provide a fun environment. Try to find a friend or a community to discuss the book you like. Discussing the book you like with a friend or a community could help you bond easily, and sometimes that will lead you to read more books. Number 3, switch to ebooks. Physical books are known to be heavy and storage consuming. However, with the rise of technologies, recently many ebooks are available to read on the internet. It also makes reading more practical. Using ebook, you can now read wherever you go without worrying about the extra weight. Well, I think that's all for today. I thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, thank you Alisa. Lagi lanjut sama MC ya. MC, dipersilahkan.
Okay, well done everyone. Yay! Cassandra, do you have any comment before we end today's speech competition?
Well, thank you for the time, MC, and the committee. First of all, thank you for all great performance from the 3 finalists that is Darren, Rian, and also Alisa. From your speech, my conclusion is some of you already have a great, scale of speech. You already told the first important things about speech is, first one is you need to tell us about what is the fact that relate to the topic that you told in your speech, and the second, you need to elaborate the fact itself relate to the topic that you already chose. And the third, but I mean the last but not the least important things in speech is your opinion. I mean, what is your solution relate to the fact and also to the topic that you already chose. Some of you has already did a great job, and I need to congratulate to 3 of the finalists. Thank you, and I will give the announcement who is the first, second, and the third winner to the committee, maybe in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra. Now, because there was the last contestant to perform for today's speech competition, therefore we have come to the end of the speech competition of Prodigy 2022. Yay! You guys have done your best and you should all be proud of yourselves. Winners will be announced tomorrow at 3 p.m. via Easy's YouTube account, and so don't forget to stream and see the results.
We would like to say thank you for your attendance and participation in Prodigy 2022. On behalf of the entire committee, we apologize if there are words that are not pleasing. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow.
See you.
Hey, excuse me. I can give saran here. Is it possible for next year that you make the debate available for junior high school students? Because I originally was going to attend the debate, but since they don't allow us to junior high schools to enter debate, so I just joined this.
Okay, so thank you so much for your feedback. We will kasih tahu nanti ke komitenya. Ditunggu ya next year-nya.
And thanks for the input, Darren. And I think you are one of the great debater in the future.
What?
I think you have skill for a debater, and I think you are a great debater in the future.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Still an amateur.
I think that's all. How's the committee? Can we leave the room or what?
Sebelum kita semua kembali ke the main room, kita bisa dokum dulu.
Jadi semua diharapkan untuk nyalakan kameranya ya. Untuk Teh Salva, tolong bantuannya untuk dokumentasi.
Oke. Aku countdown ya. Udah semua? Oke. 3, 2, 1. Satu lagi. 3, 2, 1. Oke, makasih semua.
Thank you all. You guys can leave the Zoom right now. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you, MC. Bye-bye.